Welcome. Thank you for having us. My name is Stephen Pinto. I lead digital and engineering at Dr. Squatch. Excited to be here. This is my fourth time at Grow LA. First time in the moderator seat, moving up each year. Was in the audience, spoke, and now in the moderator seat. Hopefully one day I'll be back with my brand of my own. We'll see, in true Grow fashion. Excited to announce that we have some esteemed guests and experts in the video commerce space today. We have Gautam Goswami, affectionately known as GG, CEO of CommentSold and Videeo. CommentSold is a commercial live selling and shoppable video platform in the US with over 4.6 billion in lifetime GMV. Ethan Kramer, managing partner at Agital. The first CommentSold partner, EK, was acquired by Agital in 2023, where Ethan is a partner overseeing the social commerce division. Agital is one of the fastest growing independent marketing companies in the US. And last but not least, Greg Scott, CEO of Boutique Brands, former CMO of Fashion Nova. Boutique Brands is a parent company of women's brands such as Discount Divas, Nanomax, with a core video-based strategy in the Shopify space and immersed in live selling. And so super excited to be here and chat through video strategy and live commerce as an industry and where trends are headed. We have experts here from platform, agency, and brand.
It's 4.8 billion. By the time you said it, 200 million became more like.
Thank you. Appreciate the correction. Social commerce and video shopping has initially popularized in Asia, of course, during the COVID period as well, became a big part of advertising and selling strategy, rapidly expanded worldwide. In the US last year, saw over 50 billion in live commerce sales. And it's a very unique strategy in how it blends both entertainment and online shopping. The ecosystem is continuing to grow as Shopify and social platforms continue to merge, along with consumer demand for interactive and engaging purchasing experiences. Ourselves at Dr. Squatch, video has been a huge part of our strategy, and from UGC to micro-influencers to our most recent partnership with Sydney Sweeney and at a larger scale level. However, we're at the early stages still learning about how we can leverage live shopping as well, and so excited to chat with industry experts today. Gigi, can you start off by giving us an overview of how CommentSold and Videeo are shaping this industry and the future of video commerce?
A couple of things just before we get into that. Like some of the numbers that we see in the news about how much live shopping happened in the United States right now is absolutely incorrect. I think the more closer to reality number for last year was about $10 billion. Because what's happening is that live selling is something that is a show sport. We were talking about it earlier. And when we invested, so I have a background in private equity, and when we invested in CommentSold and I joined as CEO, one of the things that we really learned very quickly is like companies like Boutique Brands and like what Greg does, what their sellers do is not very easy. So what CommentSold does is provides the best set of tools for entertainers who love to sell products to use our platform, whether it's for shoppable videos, whether it's for live selling, whether it's for using other platforms, other things that we do like notifications and stuff, to create that entertainment halo and get the best out of their customers and give them really great presentations. So the whole thing is about presentation platform and the integration from end to end, like you were talking about. We can go into it in detail later.
Awesome, thank you. What role do you see in video commerce driving for customer loyalty and repeat purchases?
Yeah, it's a very big deal. Like e-commerce players, one of the main things they do is they have products on their website and they run ads. So one of the things that we believe video does, and we have a lot of data to prove this, is first of all, increase the length of visit. So when somebody comes from your ad, and they see a picture versus they see a video that starts playing, immediately in place of bouncing in 2 seconds, they'll spend 3 to 4 seconds on the video. That extends your initial journey. Next, technology that we provide allows people to convert your website into a shoppable kind of swipe up video feed. People click one video, it invites them to swipe up. They see more videos. They're like, oh, there's a lot of products here. And if you say Gen Z or a millennial, that's how they shop. So in place of coming to your website, seeing a picture and say, I don't like the price, now they're engaged with other things. So we believe that with the right placement and the right technology, we have seen that it increases what we call as initial visit length by 4 times, like 4x, and increases conversions between 2 to 3x at the back end.
So there's a wide array of products that CommentSold offers, from the live selling itself to the video shopping. Where does a brand start?
You have to start where it's the least friction. So if you are an e-commerce store selling consumer goods, I'm sure you're doing videos already and you're posting it on Instagram and TikTok. So it's as simple as just importing that videos using our plugin into your website, tagging products on it, and we do the rest. We'll create the carousels, we'll post it on your product pages automatically. We'll automatically make sure that it gets placed in the right places and start making your site more interactive. Start there, because that's part of your regular, everyday operation. And then slowly, as you see people engaging with your videos, you move on to other things, like going live once a week. Then you expand into going live twice or 3 times a week, and then Greg is going to talk about it. He'll tell you that his team goes live 3 times a day.
Greg, you've also been heavily in this space across your brands. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the success you've had, and as well as some of the challenges you've seen in this industry?
Yeah, and I think for boutique brands, where we really own 4 unique brands across the country, our premise really was live selling was going to be a unique differentiator for us. And one of our brands, it's probably growing about 100% a year right now, has really embraced live selling. It's about 30 to 40% of their business. And I would say that the thing that we really needed to do is make sure we develop talent, because live talent is not what you necessarily, especially in the space we're in, is not the talent you would normally think. It's a little less polished, a lot more organic, and that's what we really needed to do. So I think the challenge really was to make sure we had a great schedule, a great plan of what those lives look like every day, where we're going to do it. And so I think I would say it has been the fuel of our growth of all of our brands, live selling. And getting those live talent and developing live talent is probably the #1 thing we work on all the time. And along with planning the schedule and really creating that schedule, making it unique and making it fun. For instance, one of our live sellers, this is a company in Alabama, they sold cookie mix last Friday night. We didn't really want to sell a lot of cookie mixes. We wanted to sell a lot of pajamas. So she made cookies with her husband. We sold about, 2,000 cookie mixes, but we sold 5,000 pajamas. That was the goal. And it was a soft sell. It was very organic. And that was what, and that's what's really exciting about live selling. It's fun and it's entertaining.
Yeah, truly, it's a form of entertainment, and I think it's fascinating you were mentioning that it's actually better if it's less scripted. It needs to be more authentic. Somebody, their dog comes in, or the doorbell rings, or
For sure. I mean, organic is where it's at least on the space that we're in terms of CommentSold and Video. Those 2 platforms, that organic live selling moment is incredibly important, and that's what people are looking to, and that's what people engage with, absolutely. Now, we are finding, now that we've moved over to TikTok live selling for some of our brands, that is a very different way of live selling than what we are in America. For instance, in America, it's really about community. People come for the product, but they stay for the community. The lives are all about community. TikTok, unfortunately or fortunately, you have to kind of change the way you're doing it. It's all about a 30-second to 45-second sell. Versus on CommentSold and Video, it's truly about your audience is there for an hour. On TikTok, they're there for 32 seconds. Wow. And so you're repeating your script 22 times, and that is what I think the live sellers are probably struggling with the most right now.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So what Greg just said, like if you just apply it to your lives, like how do you browse TikTok? You're basically going pop, 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 pop. If something catches your attention, you see that video, then you go swipe up. That's exactly what's happening even with the lives in TikTok. People come in, people like a product, they either buy it in the first 7 to 8 seconds, or they like it and stay for the 12 to 15 seconds and then they buy it, or they say, I'm not interested, move on. But you want to capture most of these people, and you cannot just have a lot of products because you want to miss most of them. So they're telling us to repeat the same product over and over and over again because very tiring for our sellers, right?
Yes, I mean and so what we've had to do is honestly for our CommentSold and Video live sellers actually go into TikTok boot camp. It's a true thing. TikTok has a boot camp for live selling and really change the way they live sell. That's kind of the learning phase we're in right now. But I will say, TikTok live selling looks to be something that will be here for a while, and it looks to be a very high revenue growth platform. I mean, probably Discount Divas will go from 0 to 5 million on TikTok this year. So
Yeah,
Wow, incredible.
and we are TikTok's largest partner for live selling. And when Greg goes live on TikTok, he's still using CommentSold in the back end to run the product changes and all the fulfillment and shopping.
Ethan, from the agency perspective, what are some of the challenges that you see in measuring ROI of this strategy and scaling it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, and I think it actually touches on what you guys were just talking about with TikTok versus more live on your website and short form. So when you're doing a live on your website or you're doing short form, right, you have an audience base that's typically going to tune in. It's pretty easy to measure the direct return on investment. It's harder to measure the community impact, right? And I think in today's age with, we all go on Instagram, we all go on TikTok, we start getting ads, we start seeing very similar products, right? It's about breaking down the emotional connection that you can have. And that actually creates this compound effect with live. So you have the value of the live and the revenue you generate. But when you really start to do it over and over and over, you'll start to see that your repeat purchases skyrocket, your lifetime value skyrockets. And so that's a huge thing. I think on TikTok, it's a little bit more discovery focused, right? You're getting a ton of new users constantly into your feed, into your algorithm. So like you said, Greg, the talking points are different. When you do a live on your website, you can, kind of almost do like a whole episode of a show, if you will. On TikTok, it's more repetitive because you're welcoming new users, but you're able to greet them, you're able to see revenue, right? But you really want to see that tailwind effect as well outside of the live, right? How does your revenue spike the next 2-3 days? You get creators engaging with you more. So it really does have this compounding effect, especially, the more frequently that you do it.
Operationally, one of the challenges is brands are unsure to how to invest into this strategy with a lean team. A lot of us are scrappy by nature in those earlier stages. How do you navigate that? What's the ideal team and roles to run this type of strategy, and how do you leverage efficiencies when doing so?
Yeah, so we typically will structure our team. We'll have at least one, sometimes 2 or 3 hosts. Really depends on the length, but it's really nice when you get multiple people up there because they can play with each other. They can have conversations back and forth, right? We'll then have a moderator as well. The moderators are typically in the comment section. They're like a secondary salesperson and a secondary community person. So they are able to go in, the host is going to be able to try and capture as much, right, of that conversation as they can, but the moderator becomes that second line of defense. You have a question, the moderator jumps in. And then, we typically will have one camera. You don't really need a huge setup. We'll do it from the phone. CommentSold and Video make it extremely easy to utilize these tools. And I think that's actually one of the biggest things that we see brands struggle with is they'll come in and they'll say, oh no, we need to have a huge production crew. You're going to drive up the investment that you're making, right? So then there's more demand to show the return right away. And we find that's the opposite, right? That you can do this with a pretty small crew, pretty light team, and see even better results. We have clients that we call them at-home studios. They go live from their home, and this is where you get these really spontaneous moments. And I think one of the reasons this also works extremely well is you're not bringing everyone into this studio setting and making it feel like a production. You're making it feel like you're just hanging out with friends in your house. And I think the hosts actually come across in their own way more relatable. When they're in their own environment, they're just naturally more authentic. So I would really say, if you're thinking about this, you don't need to go out and make this huge splash, right? And big investment. You can use these tools like CommentSold, get up and running really quick, and then optimize as you go.
Yeah, and in case you want to like showcase a product from multiple angles or show a close-up along with the picture, we have built-in software in CommentSold. Just use 2 phones, and you can have picture-in-picture, one close-up, one distance, and you can swap them and all that stuff. So you don't need a huge production studio.
Very cool. Gigi, closing thoughts on where the industry is headed and insights looking ahead?
Well, actually, the industry is at crossroads. There is the Greg and boutique brands and a bunch of other companies that we power that are doing incredibly well with live selling, right? But we also know, like I mentioned at the beginning, that 50 billion number is completely fake. The reality is that live selling has not been adopted in the Western world as well as it has in China and some of the Southeast Asian countries. But we are seeing a massive expansion in what we call a short form video selling. And what we are seeing is people adopt short form video, they start using short form video on the website, then they'll start going live once a week because they're getting that engagement with people, and people are saying, I will come to your live show, I love seeing your videos. Then from 1 minute, 1 times a week to 2 times a week, that's how you grow. I think there's major progress. You're going to see growth over the next 5 years, massive growth.
Very cool. The group will be in the back if there's any additional questions, and appreciate the time. Thank you all, and check out video commerce and live selling.